My name is Joe Wilkins, and I'm very pleased to be the newest member of the Linfield Creative Writing Department. So when I first came to Stafford, I remember reading his poems as an undergrad. I remember my hardest professor, Dr. Herzog. Even his name sounds hard. And I remember him gesticulating in front of the classroom one day, and just, he was so upset with our interpretation of Traveling Through the Dark. He couldn't stand it. He was just aghast at our obtuseness. But when I first came to Stafford, it was for his poems of the natural world, and I think that's a poem, even though it's a moral poem. There's very much the natural world is part of that poem. But when I was looking back through his work for tonight, I couldn't help but find these poems, the ones Lex spoke about, that have these dark undercurrents underneath them, and especially his poems of family and his poems of fatherhood. And I'm a new father, and so they really sort of staggered me, almost physically, literally. And so I'm going to read one about his son's suicide, called "For a Lost Child." What happens is the kind of snow that sweeps Wyoming comes down while I'm asleep. Dawn finds our sleeping bag, but you are gone. Nowhere now. You call through every storm, a voice that wanders without a home. Across bridges that used to find a shore, you pass, and along shadows of trees that fell before you were born, you are a memory too strong to leave this world that slips away even as its precious time goes on. I glimpse you often, faithful to every country we ever found, a bright shadow the sun forgot one day. On a map of Spain, I find your note, left from a trip that year our family traveled. Daddy, we could meet here. I'm going to read a poem, a newer poem I haven't read aloud before, and it's from being a new parent, that awful time when your child is 6 weeks old and they're in the throes of colic, and you look at them and you think, I had no idea it would be this bad. I'm sorry. I didn't think about it like this. I thought we'd play Legos and ride bikes and it would be fine, but they're not fine. And so this poem, when I read that one, I was immediately thought of this poem, even though I stole the form of this poem from another Northwest writer, Theodore Retke. Colic. If I have loved, I suppose it is because I am supposed to love. Go ahead, scream at me. I don't know what I'm doing. For instance, the garden's failing. Last night I sliced through a tomato's black grub-run heart and almost ate it anyway. It's too much. I mean by that everything. Fireflies humping brightly in the unmown lawn, another of Cat's dead birds at the front door, the aluminum plant down the street, weedy breath and busted windows, how they're packing guns again in Arizona, or the way some kid emailed the whole class his suicide note. What I mean is, why do we even do this? I don't know. But dance anyway around your ridiculous blue room as you throw your too heavy head again away from me. Little lip slit a wound, tear letting slip the heart scream. Why did you do this? Later. Urge and wrestle of neuron, synaptic sizzle and fizz, red-faced dream of what? Empty breast, birth's bone vice, or before, say that watery dawn in which some screaming cell split, tore itself in trembling two and two and two. I have rent myself as well. Here in the half-dark I am done and undone. The very space between your breaths shivers me, shatters me. Vast as God and sadder, I fall to my knees. Praise whatever terror this is that takes and twists your fisted, moon-slick face. Go ahead, scream. Scream and breathe, and I will know you are alive as I am.